Good, what's good, YouTube? It is your girl Tricia, just checking back in with a early morning message. And the message of today is understanding the war within so that you could renew the mind and conquer the inner battle that you're facing. Um, if y'all have been following me, over the last couple of days, I've been really talking about this patience that I need to understand and gather and be ready for this new fight that I was in. And one of the things that I really understand is that the power of your mind in this season is so important because most times the greatest war that we're facing is the one that's within us. It's not the one that's outside of us. Because the mind ultimately has the power of life and death, right? Of the things that you want in this world, the things that you're trying to conquer in this world. And if we're not able to perceive right, then we are fighting at a deficit with our fight. And I don't want you to feel like you're fighting in this season at a deficit. So, what I'm really understanding is that right now, we're not just fighting the spiritual and the flesh. We are not just fighting light and darkness. No, we are also fighting the effects of this spiritual fight. And we're fighting how those affect our body. And one of the things I understand is when our mind is at war, your immune system suffers. And when our spirits are heavy, our energy is being drained. And when your faith becomes low in a certain area, your your strength is weakened. But what I understand the most is whenever I partner with God, whenever I'm like feeling spiritually malnourished, I understand that um I have to then start seeing things from his perspective. So when I was on here not long ago and I kept on saying I have to have this peace with a new client and I have to have all of these different things that is starting to take shape, I understood that something powerful was happening, not only within me, but within my body, because my whole body, meaning my mind, my body, and my soul, has to start aligning with heaven's rhythm. Because otherwise, I'm out of alignment. And the neuroplasticity that is supposed to be happening with me will be out of alignment. But if you stay with him and understand that God is your source of power, your source of energy, then it will give you a different meaning. He tells us in Acts 17:28, for in him we live and move and have our being. He said you have to know how to keep him alive within you, and your heartbeat and your breath and your thoughts all will be able to flow to his magnitude of where he wants to see you go in this season. And when we disconnect from him, our power source, the things that keep us powered and going in life, will not be able to be diminished. You have to think of yourself as an outlet. Or I can say you can think of God as an outlet. That whenever you plug into him, your energy, your strength, your vitality of life is increased. But when you disconnect from him, it drains. It's like over time it will drain till your battery runs low. So I want you to understand that when you keep saying powered by God, by Jesus, that your power will stay renewed. It will stay fresh because your energy doesn't come from man-made supplements. Your energy doesn't come from the caffeine that a lot of us like to get up and say, oh my God, I need my coffee. I need this, or I need this for my motivation. It doesn't come from that. Your energy comes from this divine connection that when you partner with God and you say that he is your Lord, your Savior, your strength. And you understand that when you partner with him, your strength is renewed. He's saying that he wants you to understand this is a divine connection in this season, that things that he's sending to you is not for you to say, this is getting hard, this is getting weak, I don't understand this. He said, no, this is a divine connection to show you a power source that's within you that got to push you to this next level in life. And he said he don't want you to get disconnected from this strength. He said that's why he gave us his peace and his faith for our strength and for our immune system to be boosted in this sense. So this is why he's saying that he needs all sensors on deck within us. He said he needs all of our sensors on deck with us because he wants you to understand that when you are tying your life perspective to him, it also coincides with how scientists see life being developed and formed. And one of the things he said was, when you have stress, when you have anger, when you have fear, when you have weakness, your immune system is weak. He said, but when you have joy, when you have peace, when you have gratitude, it strengthens those things in life. And he said, and that's where he wants us to be at, is the strengthening. He said, because when you are strengthened, you will understand that when you renew your mind with God and his word, your body literally responds to those words. How? Because your cortisol levels will be lowered. Your immune system will start to rise to the words that is being spoken over you. And one of the things that will happen is the healing will begin to flow from you. So when you understand that God is your supplement in life, that is what you should be eating, this is what you need to be taking in, you won't have to look for another pill bottle. You will not have to look for another supplement, because you will understand that the Bible is your supplement. That faith becomes your vitamin. And that peace becomes your medicine. And when you have peace, that becomes your medicine. You won't have to go out looking for a new doctor, a new this, a new that, because you're thinking that the medicine that they gave you isn't working. It's not working because you have not took the vital medication that you need to take on a daily basis. Ooh. And he said, but baby, when you get his joy, he said, when you get his joy, that is your immune booster. You don't need to take immune boosters when you take it in his joy, because it will release endorphins in you that you didn't know that you had, to get you prepared for this fight. And he said, and understanding that when you are taking ingratitude in your life, that's like a detox. When you have gratitude and you're able to forgive people and you're able to move past those things without letting them burden you, he said that's a spiritual detox. You are able to then throw certain things away and not even have to look back at them, because it does not define you. He said this is why you have to have this spiritual electrolyte running through your body, because you need something to always help restore your balance. And that balance is when you're having God's word help fuel your heartbeat. When you have God's word help touching every muscle. And when you having his word touch on every muscle, you will understand that your energy depends on him. That is a power. That's what I'm telling you about, this power source, because you will understand that this power that he is putting up into you, your spirit won't be dehydrated. Instead, it would align with his peace. It would align with his patience. It would align with the hope and the worship that's inside of you. So no longer would you feel spiritually dehydrated. You understand that this peace, this prayer, that this supplement that he gives you is living water. That's why he tells us whoever uh is thirsty to come to him. He said, because when you get this water, you will never thirst again. And I was trying to understand with where I was in life, like, how do I make all of this come to pass when I'm over here telling him that I need peace for this next phase of my life? And he goes, well, if you abide in it, you won't be looking for peace because the peace will already be within you. But when you have a carnal mind, you won't see that peace and you will be looking for it, because he lets you know then you're stepping into flesh. I'm calling on peace because I'm stepping into flesh. So that's not what we're doing in this season. Mm-mm. He said, you take his spiritual supplements. And I want to just break down what those spiritual supplements are. He said, because see, when you take his faith, that seed of a mustard seed, when you take in his faith, that is for you to build resilience with and to reduce stress levels with. His faith is for that anxiety that's inside of you to be lowered. He said, this is why he has us have faith. He said in his peace, he gives you peace so that you can understand how to lower the pressures of the day-to-day that will come up against you. He said that's why he tells you to stay in peace, because that will restore your clarity. That will restore the things that's in front of you. So often, if we are not in peace, we will let the things of this world distract us when that is not what we are called to do. But he said, if you stay in his peace, no matter what comes up in front of you, you were able to see past it. You are able to rise to a different level and understand what is being presented in front of you. And when you're able to calculate this, when you're able to see these things, he said, then you understand why he gives you joy. Because joy is what gives you your strength. You got to think about anytime you have joy for something, it gives you it releases endorphins in you that be like, oh, I got this, baby. I got this. It's the same way like whenever I'm passing one of my tests, it's joy that comes. It's joy that say, hey, all this hard work that I didn't put into this, I understand that it paid off. I see it. You get joyful for this. Whenever you pass a new milestone in life, you get joy behind that. That is where he's trying to get us to in this season. He said, and when you get that joy, the beauty of that is it start restoring your immune system. He said, and when you start restoring your immune system, you starting to kill off dead cells. Ooh. He said, and that's what you want. You want to start killing off some of these dead cells, the things that keep you bound, the things that keep you stuck, the things that just is not privy to where he's trying to get you to. He said, when you get joy, it heats your body up like an oven. So things that don't serve you just fall off. He said, and that's what that joy is for you. Them falling off moments. Ooh. He said, and then you understand why he told you to have forgiveness. Because forgiveness then in return releases emotional toxins from your body. Those emotional toxins, those things that fear, anxiety, and the words that others spoke over you. He said, when you have forgiveness, those things have to melt off of you. Those things can no longer hold you in that season, in that moment, because you gave forgiveness. You said, you know what? This might have tried to slay me, but I forgive it. I'm able to move on. I'm able to push past it, and I'm able to see where the real foundation needs to be laid at. He said, and then when you get that, you understand his gratitude. Because gratitude for understanding that forgiveness will boost your energy and increase your focus. The focus to see things from his perspective, not your perspective, because see, our perspective is carnal. But he said, when you get his perspective, he said, then you understand this living water and why you won't have to thirst after anything. Because it's given to you and you received it the moment you have gratitude. And when you get that gratitude, you understand why his rest, why we need to rest in him is so important. Because when you resting in the Lord, it boosts your energy. Mm. And it restores your body, and it restores your nervous system. Because when you're resting in him, you're not on autopilot, you're not running after anything, but instead you resting, you trusting in the Lord to let him do his will through you. And you might understand that different nervous systems might kick up. Your flight or flight, all these different things might try to kick up. But when you're resting in the Lord properly, you won't need all of these different sensors. Yes, you need them to understand the perspective of the world. But when you understand the foundation that he gave you, that he planted inside of you, he said it releases a different chemical makeup within you. And it breaks down that old programming that was inside of you. And when he's breaking this down and when he's giving you a restored mind, then you will not have to worry about things drying up. Right now in a society that everybody's on flight or flight mode, that everybody's in a state of panic. He said you won't need to be in a state of panic when you understand his rest mode. He said, let those old things fall off so that this renewing that he gave you will manifest. When you're seeing life from God's perspective, it restores the wholeness that's inside of you. It stops you from seeing a limitation. The same way my limitation was like, oh, I hope I have this peace. I hope I'm going to be able to do this. He said, no, 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 no. When you start to see things through his eyes, peace replaces those anxieties. Peace replaces the strength. Peace replaces the weakness. Peace replaces the hope that you were asking him for. Isaiah 26 said it the best. He said, you will keep in perfect peace who mind stays on Jesus. He said, when you keep your eyes set on him, you will keep in perfect peace, and you will not have to ask about this spiritual immunity, because it will be a state of wholeness that can't be shaken out of you. He said, this is why your healing depends on your partnership with him. He said, because when you are really staying in this perfect peace with him, when you are really staying in this wholeness with him, you will understand that your mind is renewed, that your heart is restored, that your immune system is strengthened, and your energy stays revitalized when you're with him. He says, stay plugged in this season. You got to stay all the way plugged in him spiritually in this season. He says, so you have to stay in your praises. You have to stay in your prayers. You have to stay in forgiveness, and you have to stay in your rest in this season in order to feel this rejoice that he's giving you. He said everything that you asked him for up until this point was for you to understand his rest, his peace, his joy, his love, his compassion. He said, and the only way you can stay in that is if you stay plugged in, if you stay tapped in this season, because the world is going to start shooting things at you. If you know that you are in a season of elevation, he says, stay plugged in right here. He said, because right now the words that you are speaking are so vital. Like when I'm asking for him to give me peace or patience, he said, I've already given these things to you. He said, but you got to stay plugged in, tapped in, because the things that are going to come up on you that is so worldly is finna try to knock you off course so that you can see from a fleshly perspective instead of a spiritual perspective. He says, so you have to stay spiritually above the things that are finna come up against you. He said, and that is why he tells us to renew ourselves daily. Oh, our Father, which art in heaven, give us this day our daily bread. He said, this is why you got to ask for forgiveness of trespasses, as you forgive yourself for trespassing, and to be forgiven for your debts as you having to forgive the debtors. He said, this is why we renew our daily bread. Because this is a spiritual fight that we have to stay connected for. When your soul perspective and your mind perspective, and when your mind perception and the way that your body is responding to things, he said, make sure that they're in alignment with God's perspective, because the enemy is finna strike. And it ain't finna be like them cutesy strikes that he had before. This strike is finna try to knock you all the way off course. Because I tell you, a new level is a new devil. And he said, this devil now has studied you. He done studied you to the point where now he's got to send a whole different tactile. And it's subtle. And I told y'all in my last video how that same serpent that keeps slithering in your face, try to say certain things to not diminish what you're doing, but to be sneaky enough so that you can agree with the opposing perspective that God gave you. And in this season, God said, if you stay in his word, if you stay grounded, no counterfeit power is going to be able to come up against what he's given you. He said, but that requires you to stay tapped in, plugged in, and connected to him in this season. It is your girl, Trisha. We are in a season where this is each one teach one season. So if you see your brother or sister crown tipping, help them fix it. Better yet, help them stay connected to the power source. Because right now, there is a greater work that is at hand. And he said, and if we are in partnership to save souls, it's going to require you to stay plugged in at all times, because the enemy is after you and he wants to knock you off your square. And if you are not careful and you asking for patience at a time when he said your patience is already there, and if you asking him for a different renewal of perspective, he said, did you seek his perspective? Are you abiding in his word in this season? He said, because certain things you want to ask for, if you knew who you were plugged into. Ooh, I think that was for me. He said, because right now, greater works is at hand. The work that he wants to put inside of you is at hand. But you got to understand that you can't be double-minded and you can't go second guessing what he gave you in this season, because he's calling you to do a mighty thing in this world. And he said the only way he can accomplish this is if you stay tapped in and connected. He said this is your connection week. Stay connected to him. He said, and if you don't think you can do it in your strength, he said that's where your fasting and prayer comes into obedience with him, so that you can get his rest in this season. He said, because it's a milestone now. And I told y'all, the pavement the other day told me, marry your mile. He said, and if you're married to your mile in this season, this plugged in has to stay. This tapped in that you're having to go through has to stay. Again, it's your girl, Trisha. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to drop a comment. Let me know if my words is resonating with you. And until next time, don't forget to love on each other, because we all we got.